Hello everyone, welcome to another bonus episode of Bookish Babbles. Today we're doing the Disney Princess book tag. Woo! It is March. We had International Women's Day, a happy, very belated International Women's Day. So in honor of that, I'm doing like I said, doing the Disney Princess book tag. This was originally created on YouTube by Elizabeth Barber, but I couldn't access the video. I think it was privated or something. So I'll just link to the person whose video I used for the questions. So I'll link to Bookables in the show notes. I'm also recording this episode on St. Patrick's Day, so I'm happy belated St. Patrick's Day because this episode won't go up on the same day. But yeah. Oh, by the way, you know how I said I would be insufferable when season 2 of Shadow and Bone dropped? Well, we got the trailer for Heartstopper, which is based off of Alice Oseman's graphic novel series, which if you don't know, Alice Oseman is one of my favorite authors. So again, another series adaptation I will be insufferable over when it comes out. So again, I apologize to everyone in my life. Love you guys. Anyway, without further ado, let's dive into the questions for the tag. Alright, first question is Snow White, your favorite classic. So, I have a few. Well, granted, I haven't read very many classics in recent years since I graduated, but I'm gonna go with Animal Farm by George Orwell. I really like this book. It's one of those classics that I feel like doesn't really have, like, quote-unquote pretentious writing that's, trying too hard to sound intelligent, and it's one of those books where you could read it to a 10-year-old and they would get something out of it, and then it just has more meaning as you get older. And I need to reread it soon because I read it in high school, and then I think I just reread it again in college on my own, and it's a story that's always stuck with me. It's really dark too. I guess you could kind of classify it as dystopia, and I really like the dystopia genre, but it's animals taking over their farm, kicking out the humans, big revolution, yay, but then shit happens, and by the end of the story, they realize, we might need another revolution. But yeah, it's a short book too, so if you haven't read Animal Farm, highly recommend it. It's also slightly less dark than 1984, which I still haven't reread because there's like this one specific scene that I can't, because it involves rats, and I'm terrified of rats. So, yeah, I know 1984 is like the big Orwell novel, and rightfully so, but personally, I prefer Animal Farm. Anyway, that's enough rambling. On to the next question. Okay, next one is Cinderella, a book that kept you up reading past your bedtime. Very easy. All the Heroes of Olympus books. I was in 7th grade when the Lost Hero came out, and what's funny is earlier the summer before that, I had read all the Percy Jackson books, and I had no idea that a sequel series was coming out. So in like October or something, I saw one of my classmates reading that book, and I was like, "Oh, what you reading?" And they showed me, and I was like, "Wait a minute!" I realized it was a sequel series to Percy Jackson. So I got it next time my mom and I went to like Target or something, and then I finished it in 2 days, screamed in agony at the cliffhanger, and then the next year, Son of Neptune again, finished it in 2 days. Mark of Athena the following year, read it in 2 days. So basically, Blood of Olympus came out my junior year of high school, and every single time I stayed up way past my bedtime because I still had like homework to do because I was going to school, obviously, and I had like extracurricular activities, but I did not want to do any of those things. I used all my study hall time to read those books. They like consumed all my time, and then they were the only thing I could think about, and then like a week later I would reread them. So yeah, definitely Heroes of Olympus. Those were the books I always stayed up late reading the most. On to the next question. Okay, next is Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty, your favorite classic romance. So I have 2 answers because why not? This one's kind of a basic answer, but whatever, I still love it. Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, of course, from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I feel like they're most people's go-to answer for a classic romance, and again, it's just really sweet because At first, they don't like each other. Then they learn and grow and develop, and by the end, they're ready to be together. And I really like it. And I especially love the 2005 adaptation with Keira Knightley. I seriously need to reread Pride and Prejudice because I think I read it my junior year of high school, and I don't think I quite appreciated it enough. I don't know. Pride and Prejudice is just a story I've grown to appreciate more over the years. And another answer I have is Beauty and the Beast from, like, the original book Beauty and the Beast. I finally read it like earlier this year, and I really loved it. It's like I don't know, it's just a story that means a lot to me. And of course I grew up loving the Disney movie, but it felt really good to read like the text that movie was based off of. And because when I was younger, I remember getting like a junior adaptation of the text from the library and reading it, but I hadn't like read the full text. And I have a really pretty edition. I'll post it on Instagram. But yep, those are my answers. On to the next question. Okay, next is Ariel, a book about making sacrifices and fighting for your dreams. So for this one, I decided to go with The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So main character, Evelyn Hugo, she ends up becoming a very famous movie star in the 50s, 60s, and she definitely does she will do anything to accomplish her dream. She'll do anything for her career, and she does some things that, kind of morally gray, and often ends up sacrificing her relationships. And I mean, she has 7 husbands. She's a very interesting lady and a really fascinating character. So I know it's a really popular book, but if you haven't read it, highly recommend it. I've yet to hear anyone who really didn't like the book. Like, most people I've heard read it in 2 or 3 days, and I definitely was one of those people. It was a book I could not put down. I even ended up recommending it to one of my professors, and 2 days later, the next time we had class, she was like, "Oh my god, I read this book and I loved it." So yeah, 7 Husbands. On to the next question. Okay, next is Belle, aka my favorite Disney princess, a book with a smart, independent, main female character. So I decided to go not with the obvious answer, which is Hermione Granger, although I'm mentioning her now, so Hermione Granger. But anyway, my actual answer is Violet Baudelaire from A Series of Unfortunate Events. And this is one of those series that's really good, but I always forget that I love, because I don't know why. Maybe because I only read it once, but I do genuinely love the book series, although I'm still angry about the ending to this day, because what the fudge was that, Lemony? Anyway, but yeah, so Violet, she's the oldest of the 3 Baudelaire siblings, and she's also a very talented inventor. Her inventions often end up saving the day and stopping Count Olaf in his schemes, and I just really love her. And also, I'm ashamed to admit I still have not finished the Netflix series. I have watched the movie with Jim Carrey on repeat when I was younger, but I still haven't finished the TV series, mostly because because I know what happens at the end, and it stresses me out. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll watch it. I'd probably have to rewatch the first season though, because I've forgotten everything. Anyway, on to the next question. Okay, Jasmine, a character who challenges the norms of their world. So I need the ability to speak. I went with Zetian from Iron Widow. So this takes place in a kind of sci-fi-y world where men are pilots and women become concubine pilots, but they often die because the male pilots end up using up all their energy in battle, but Zetian, she manages to survive and become equal to one of the strongest pilots ever. So she definitely shakes things up and challenges society, and does occasionally morally questionable things, but I still really love her because the world she's in is screwed up, so good for her. She kind of reminds me of Regina a little bit from Once Upon a Time. and I can't wait for the sequel to eventually come out. So, yep, on to the next question. Okay, next is Pocahontas. Horribly historically inaccurate movie, but some really pretty animation and a fantastic soundtrack. So, anyway, the question is a book whose ending was a roller coaster of emotions. So, other than Clockwork Princess, I decided to go with Written in the Stars. And shoot, I forgot to write down the author's name. And I'm too lazy to get up right now because I'm lying in bed as I'm recording and I'm really comfortable. Anyway, I'll post the book on the Instagram. But anyway, this is a really like emotional and dark book at times. Like a trigger warning for sexual assault in that book. So if that's something you don't want to experience, either skip the book entirely or maybe just gloss over those few pages where something happens, because basically the main character, she's like 16 or 17 years old, and her family takes her back to I think Pakistan. It's been a few years since I've read the book. I'm so sorry if I got that detail wrong. And they basically force her into an arranged marriage, and she has to basically fight to escape and to get back to the United States, where her boyfriend is, who's trying to help her. And I cried a lot reading that book, and it's one of those books where I've been wanting to reread it, but the material is like so heavy and dark at times, and also frustrating that I need to be in the right headspace to read that, but it's still really good. On to the next question. Okay, next is Mulan, one of my favorite Disney princesses also. A book with a kick-butt female character. So I always have to mention at least one Shadowhunters character, so this week I'm mentioning Emma Carstairs. She's a fantastic fighter, a great friend, and I think she's in the series she's described as being like her generation's Jace Herondale like skill level warrior, and she's a really good main character, and I can't wait to see her in any future books. I know she won't play a leading role, obviously, but I always love seeing her. And actually, all the Carstairs are great. Like Jem, Cordelia, Emma, all fantastic, and I love every single one of them. Obviously, moving on. Okay, next is Tiana, who is very underrated, and I think I heard she's getting a series or something. I hope so. I'd love to see more Tiana material. Anyway, the question is a character who puts their dreams above romance, and for this one, I decided to go with Jo March from Little Women. Jo does not care particularly about romance. She just wants to be a great writer. She wants to support her family. She wants to be there for them, and I 100% support her. I love her in the book, and I especially love her in the 2019 adaptation with Saoirse Ronan plays her brilliantly, and I kind of wish she got the Oscar, but hey, at least she was nominated, so yay. Here's to both Saoirse and Florence Pugh one day winning Oscars. On to the next question. Okay, next is Merida, a book with a mother-daughter relationship. I decided to go with The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. It's another pretty popular book, but again, if you haven't read it, please go read it. It's really good. So the two main characters, they're twins, and they both have a complicated relationship with their mother. And so both the sisters, they're black, but they have, light skin to the point where they can pass as white if they want to. And they come from like a whole community with the people who are also light skinned. So one sister chooses not to pass, and the other does choose to pass and marries a white man and moves away and lives as a white woman. And they both have daughters, and they both have very complicated relationships with their daughters as well. And overall, it's a really like beautiful and emotional book, and I highly recommend it. Like 5 out of 5 stars. Like I don't think I've seen anyone who's like reviewed it give it like less than 4 stars. Like that's how good it is. Anyway, on to the next question. All right, Rapunzel, my other favorite Disney princess, right below Belle. I love I love Rapunzel. I love the movie Tangled so much. But anyway, a book that features an artist. So I went with Eliza and Her Monsters. So main character is Eliza. She's in like I think her junior or senior year of high school. I haven't read this book since like late high school, early college, so I've forgotten a lot. But anyway, she is the creator of a really popular webcomic, so obviously she's an artist, and she meets a boy who she falls in love with, and he ends up being like a really like famous like fan fiction writer of her work online. So that's really cool. I love reading stuff about like online creators and online artists. And yeah, if you love the book Fangirl, I highly recommend Eliza and Her Monsters. And that's another book I should really reread. Like, most of this podcast is just me realizing I love all these books that I should revisit. Anyway, on to the next question. Okay, Anna and Elsa, a book with a great relationship between siblings. And yeah, I mentioned the TV series Heartstopper earlier, which you should definitely watch, and you should definitely read the graphic novels that it's based off of. Anyway, but Tori and Charlie Spring from the Heartstopper series, but they're also featured in one of Alice Oseman's novels called Solitaire, where Tori, the sister, she's the main character because Charlie's the main character in the Heartstopper series. And I believe Solitaire takes place between certain volumes. Like I'm messy on where the timeline is, but yes, if you're a fan of Heartstopper, you should definitely read Solitaire, because you can meet Tori, Charlie's sister, and Charlie and Nick are both in the book, and it's a really like good like solid debut novel from Alice Oseman. Although you should also definitely read Radio Silence, because that's like the best book ever. Anyway, moving on. So this was the last question of the tag in the video, but I came up with some bonus questions, featuring some more recent Disney princesses. So, yep, here they are. Okay, so the first bonus question is Moana, a character with a strong connection to the water. And I tried not to say Percy Jackson, because that's like the most obvious one. But I decided to go with Emma, who's the main character from this series called Of Poseidon by Anna Banks. Like, this was a series, like, I think my junior or senior year of high school, I remember reading, because my family and I were on vacation, and it's a trilogy, and I just remember marathoning the whole thing. It's like a really fun beach read, but basically the main character discovers she can, I think, communicate with like sea animals, because spoiler alert, I guess she's part mermaid, but I think you can figure that out just from reading the summary of the book and reading like the first few chapters. But yeah, that's a fun series if you want something to marathon. Okay, next is Esmeralda, who I know technically isn't a Disney princess. She's not in the Disney princess lineup, but she's one of the best characters ever. Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of the best movies ever, so I'm counting her. A character who does the right thing no matter the odds, and I'm going with Citra from the Sight series by Neil Schusterman. Another series that's great, and I should probably reread sometime soon, because it's amazing. But so Citra, she is selected to become the apprentice of a scythe, because in like the future, like death isn't a thing. Like you don't even die of old age. You can just like reverse back to being like younger, like in your 20s. So people are essentially immortal, but it's a scythe's job to unalive people, to control the population. And Citra gets selected to be a scythe's apprentice, and she faces a lot of challenges, but she always tries to do what she feels is the right thing. And she's a really great main character. And if you haven't read that series, like if you love the Hunger Games, obviously I highly recommend Scythe. It's really good. On to the next question. Okay, Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon. Name a book that features cool magical creatures. Narnia, one of my favorite fictional worlds ever. I remember my dad taking me to see the first movie in theaters. I remember reading the book The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I'd love to go to Narnia. There's this like a wardrobe at my grandparents' house that when I was little, I was convinced that one day I would open it and I'd be able to find Narnia, as every kid with an overactive imagination does. Anyway, enough of my embarrassing history. On to the next question. Okay, Anastasia again. I know technically not a Disney princess, but Disney owns Fox now, so technically she is now a Disney princess to me. And another great character, and also fantastic, a Broadway musical. Anyway, a character who doesn't know their past / family history. Very obvious one for me. Pretty much all the main characters in The Maze Runner. They all wake up in a maze with no memories of their past, so very easy answer. Although, kind of don't like the books, but I love the movies. I recommend watching them. Okay, last one is Mirabelle. Thank you, Sarah, for helping me come up with this question. So I'm counting Mirabelle as a princess because, her grandmother is the leader of their community, and Mirabelle, I think we all agree, she's going to be the next candle holder, so she's going to be the next head of the family one day, so I'm counting her as a princess. A character who finally gets their big break. Okay, so I'm going with Spencer, who's the main character in Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. She really wants to be a pilot to help, fight the aliens invading their home or whatever. But no one wants to give her a chance because her father was formerly a disgraced pilot that, did something bad, so no one wants to give her a chance. But someone eventually does give her a chance when she fights really hard to pass the tests to become a pilot. And fantastic series, though I really need to read the third book. I kind of forgot to read that when it came out. Whoops. Yeah, really great sci-fi series. I've yet to read anything by Brandon Sanderson that I didn't love. And yeah, with all that being said, that's the last question, and that's at the end of the tag. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great, day / night whenever you're listening to this, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!